Today I'm going to tell you about a movie from 2022 called March of the Morning Dawn. The plot is set in the late 1990s. The main character, a young man who organizes events and shoots various promotional videos, is hired to put on a music contest. At a business meeting at a restaurant, the customers have only two requirements. The competition must be held in Moscow or Moscow region, and it can win only one person, a young landscape designer, patronized by Mysterious Du. The unusual choice of the winner in no way surprises the man, because now many decisions within the country are influenced by who holds the money and power. From the customers, the hero receives exactly $4,000 in cash. This is a tiny sum. It can barely be used to organize a decent contest, but customers do not care much. They say that this money is not only needed to hold the event, but also to videotape it. Realizing that the amount of his own fee depends on how he will dispose of the budget, hero takes the job. On the sound and light, man spends a total of $1,000. For the tape recorder and editing console gives as much, and the rental of the camera and the work of contractors leaves another $600. The organizer decides to save money on the driver. He hires a neighbor, Igor, from a nearby entrance with a broken Moskvich for $100, knowing that the guy will take any job, just to escape from the communal apartment and the duties of a young father. However, the jury is an entirely different matter. The hero approaches the selection of the committee members, responsibly choosing professionals from the academy and the conservatory, and appoints the composer Vladimir Shainsky as the chairman. After bribing the jury and settling accounts with his assistant security guard Sergei Galkin, Ivanchenko has only $400, which is not enough to rent the Palace of Culture near Moscow, where the contest is to be held. Then the hero decides to turn to the old customer. A pyramid-type networking company that sells nutritional supplements. He offers his old customers to pay for the rent of the AC and in return promises to place a distributor in the organization in the lobby and to put up advertising flyers in the hall. The company agrees to the tempting offer. So the day of the event arrives. A wide variety of contestants gather. Aggressive rockers, a duo musician with a violinist, a solo performer, a poet, a girls band, a young rapper, and, of course, a paid landscaper with his lover. The organizer is not transparently hinted that the customer's favorite should take first place, and the protagonist decides that the future winner will perform last, which he informs the jury. Those, accordingly, nod and begin preparing for the event, as do the contestants. Some of the artists are worried about the empty auditorium, and the main character hurries to assure them that this is part of the plan, in which the judges should not interfere with the evaluation of the participants. The problem doesn't end there. A young bass guitarist starts demanding alcohol before the performance and the culprit has to refuse him, and this almost provokes a fight. Luckily, the lighting man helps settle the conflict and the concert begins. The organizer escapes backstage so as not to hear the rocker gang perform and goes to the dressing room of the girl band, finding out that the girls study at Bauman University. While the artists are simultaneously preparing for the session and the performance, and the jury is pondering the meaning of the rocker's song in the foyer, an argument ensues between the designer's security guard and the band's security guard, which ends with none other than Galkin. Meanwhile, the singer and violinist are leafing through brochures advertising nutritional supplements when the organizer enters the room to warn them that it is their turn to take the stage. The protagonist learns that the 35-year-old artist is married to his partner, Anna, and is preparing to become a father. This information makes the narrator to think about what motivated not young by the standards of the 90s man to participate in the competition. His musings are interrupted by Anna asking if he will help by playing a triangle on stage, but the interlocutor politely declines, offering Galkin instead. A few minutes later, the married musicians show off their number, introducing themselves to the judges while they sing about their uneasy personal relationship. The organizer rushes to the female students, finding out that they are performing in the KVN. The women's quartet begins to convince the protagonist that the club has a future, and even presents him a number in which the four reveal the concept of their group and each participant individually. The taciturn organizer makes an agreement with the girls that they will not repeat the number in front of the jury, and then sends them on stage with a love song, while he goes to the upset poetess, who intends to perform even without accompaniment. The protagonist then decides to visit the singer, a cappella, discovering that her image of a girl from a good family is nothing but a farce. He asks Galkin to escort a stranger, Konstantin, out of the contestants' dressing room, after which he learns that the designer and the rapper's father are missing. While the young man is on stage reading about wanting to go somewhere far away, a pop is heard in the back of the building. The organizer goes to the sound, finding the door blown open and the ringleader of the girl band security along with Galkin punishing the perpetrators of the explosion. The hero has to pay another $100 in unanticipated damages, after which he finds the rapper's father crying in the closet. The man is upset by the fact that even with 2 college degrees under his belt, he still does not have a decent profession. The young rapper and his stepbrother pick up their parent, and in the meantime, singer a cappella appears on stage. The organizer begins to get nervous. The time for the performance of the designer, who has disappeared from the House of Culture, is approaching. The number is missing, as well as a cell phone. That is why the hero sends Galkin to search for the missing participant. Suddenly he falls into the memories of how he fought with the customers about the name of the contest. He originally called it the Autumn Waltz, not wanting to get creative, but the customers did not appreciate such a move, so it was collectively decided to change the name to the March of the Morning Dawn. The a cappella singer's number ends, so the organizer, hoping to buy some time, tells the poetess not to finish the number until he asks. The contestant agrees, while the hero decides that something from a stall not far from the culture center will help him cope with the resulting stress. There he buys a dubious-looking cognac and drinks it in one gulp, after which the man has an epiphany. One day he was shooting a commercial for that brand. The shooting was difficult because one of the actors, an elderly man, became very nervous and accidentally got drunk on the set during the many takes. We didn't have much choice, but the commercial had to be finished that night to be on time. Therefore, the hero has found 3 veterans of the stage, which have agreed to replace the fallen-asleep actor for a triple fee. Later, a commercial with the unorthodox trio aired. At the same time, the hero thinks about how he and his girlfriend lawyer Olya created the rules and regulations of the competition, which for some reason no one follows. The man's train of thought is interrupted by Igor's green muscovite, from which the designer and his team get out. It turns out that they went to dinner at a Moscow restaurant. The protagonist sighs with relief, and 10 minutes later the last contestant takes the stage. The organizer personally introduces Grigory Polozov to the judges, describing him as a performer of popular songs, while the sound engineer turns on a CD cassette with a soundtrack given to him in advance. Watching the 7th contestant from the hall, the organizer thinks about the fact that the designer does not behave in a sporty way, not even trying to sing, while all the participants of the girl band not only performed to the minus, but at the same time tried to learn Kopermat. Not wanting to wait for the end of this unpredictable and uninteresting show, the hero goes down to the foyer, where the other contestants are already sitting waiting for the announcement of the results. Suddenly the organizer feels ashamed of the deception of the young and not so young artists, who came to the stage to show others their talent. He's about to say the contest is bought, but then he looks at the United Teenage Rapper's father, who's signing a contract with the distributors of bio-supplements for the lonely poetess, and decides not to do it. Plus he has something to lose, $300 to live on for a couple of weeks still in his pocket. The protagonist returns to the hall, where Grigory's performance has just come to an end. The dissatisfied jury members suddenly declare that they do not intend to give first place to the phonogram cheater. Tham knocks the ground out from under the feet of the organizer, who considered them a decoration rather than a real force. The jury asks for 15 minutes to summarize the results, but in the meantime, the hero goes to the dressing room Grigory, where he honestly tells the woeful performer that he does not get the first place. The artist's representative and the customer of the event is not happy about it, but the organizer shows him the signed statute in which he hopes that Olya managed to write a paragraph about false singing. The tense atmosphere in the room is diluted by Galkin, who enters and invites everyone to go with him to the assembly hall, adding that the jury is ready to announce the results. Polozov's team takes great offense at the organizer and, having ignored the finals, leaves the House of Culture, and then the city. The winner is the poetess Maria Pyatnitskaya unexpectedly. The second place goes to the singer a cappella, and the third to musical due. The organizer distributes cassettes with recorded performances to all participants and declares the first all-Russian competition for young performers March of the Morning Dawn closed. Later, when the hero is about to go home with Igor, Galkin unequivocally promises to find the customer and lucidly explain him that you cannot talk to contractors so rude. Behind Galkin, 2 members of the girls' band come up to the Muscovite and boldly jump into the salon, saying that it is too early to end the evening. On the way, the organizer stops by the casino to exchange $100 for 600,000 rubles and stops by the store for alcohol and food. Already in the morning, when the hero is not yet fully awake, an armed client and his assistant break into his apartment. The organizer thinks that now begins the fight and have to urgently call Galkin. Suddenly the former client declares that he came to get the tape with Polozov's recorded performance. Having received the necessary things, the uninvited guests quietly leave the apartment. By noon, the 2 students wake up and run off to take an exam at the university, and after a while Olya leaves too and never comes back. The 21st century is upon us. Time is running fast forward. Years later, when the hero reflects on the fact that he no longer crossed paths with any of the contestants, he meets a girl who wins his heart and seems very familiar. Some time later, when the girl becomes his wife, she confesses that she was in a relationship with Polozov during the Morning Dawn March. The protagonist shakes his head understandingly. Never again does he ask his wife what caused the breakup of their previous relationship. That's all for now, gentlemen. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and like it. See you soon.